So if anybody's on YouTube, hello. We got a late start just because there were some logistical stuff trying to get taken care of, but we are ready to start. We are going to do a couple of episodes of Tales from the Crypt Keeper. So I will, if you're in the YouTube chat, I will put that in the chat window.
Yeah, we're going to start things off with Growing Pains, which is an episode by The Witch, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I don't think we've done an old Witch episode, so I was excited to do that.
Should I read the I guess you call it synopsis here?
Yeah, go ahead. Hey, Annette.
Annette, welcome back. So it says, the old witch takes over telling this episode's story after turning the Crypt Keeper into a scarecrow. In this installment, a plant enthusiast named Wendell from Hide and Go Shriek. So it's a returning character.
Apparently, yeah.
Falls for Rose, a new girl at their rather weedy family secret.
All right. Okay.
Rose is very on the nose for a name for a character.
I mean, it is Tales from the Crypt Keeper, yeah, so
that's hilarious.
All right. So we're going to start this in 3, 2, 1, play.
Turn on some subtitles. These are the ones that are like made for like by YouTube. They're really funny subtitles sometimes. It's a shame that the animation took a second, like a back seat, because like this intro is solid. Like I think it's a fun intro, and it totally encapsulates the like kid versions of these monsters really well.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey Ryan, we're watching Tales from the Crypt Keeper, and if you have the group chat open, the link is right there. So we just started.
Okay. Yeah, we just pressed play on the episode. We're still in the opening credits.
Yep. And if you need a timestamp, let us know. We can give you one.
Okay.
That was a good episode. The one with
Banshee,
the ghost.
Yeah. The screaming ghost. Yeah. I want to see the one. Did you see the sea monster, or like I guess they call it like the creature? He was beefy. He was huge, like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
One of these days, I want to do real Tales from the Crypt. I know the idea is, of course, cartoons, and that was the idea behind this. But like, I totally watched that when I was a kid, and that is more of an installment of my childhood than this show is.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, I would be fine with that. We just have to make sure nobody's going to show up with their kids, because I know like Andrew will sometimes have his son with these, and Annette will sometimes have Hayden. So
yeah, I almost was going to say like, they're not that bad, Tales from the Crypt, but yeah, some of them are pretty bad. I think some of them have nudity, and like some of them
have swearing, and it all depends on like the individual and what they want their kids to see too. So.
That's true. I'm not sure if that's going to be easy to find. I've had a hard time finding places where you can stream that. I've only been able to find it on DVD.
Dude, yeah. You're right. That's another thing that I always forget to consider. Is like, oh yeah, it has to be available for us to watch, and that one's totally not. It's not even on HBO Go, which blows my mind, because they put like Oz on HBO Go, but they didn't put Tales from the Crypt.
They probably don't own the rights anymore.
Why? I
don't know.
Well, didn't they create it?
I think so, but it could have been structured so that like whoever ran it, like Robert Zemeckis owns the rights.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah, I think it's owned by Warner Brothers now.
What? Okay, so that one was never going to get a movie, but there's another anthology show that's going to get a movie soon, right? Like that's making a movie, or they're redoing the series. There's
Creep Show.
Creep Show's being done as a series, but I thought they were making the Scary Story, and I know this isn't really a show, but the Scary Stories Tell in the Dark movie. Like I don't understand how that's going to work. I
assume it's going to be an anthology movie, but like directed towards younger people.
Is it going to be one director, or are they going to have guests for each of the segments?
I heard it was going to be Guillermo del Toro
directing it. Oh my god! I
don't
know what's going to happen with that.
He's obsessed with that. Like he has all the Stephen Gammell original paintings in his house.
I would love to have Harold just hanging up on my wall. You know how much it would scare people having Harold?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That picture haunted my nightmares, man.
It was terrifying. It wasn't, you know what it was? It was the visualization of like when I read that, like what I would see in my head. Him galloping across the top of the thing. Because it wasn't just that he was walking. He wrote it as if like Alvin Schwartz wrote, he was like galloping and skipping across the top of the hut or whatever they were in.
Yeah, my thing was when he was like on the roof drying the skin. Like,
Flayed
nope,
skin.
I'm out.
Flayed skin in a children's scary stories anthology.
Yeah.
Whoa. I read that one in my class, though. Absolutely, I do. I don't hold back. I read the one that I did on the Patreon. I read that to my class. They just
Yeah, that's intense. Like, that's way more intense.
Every year that I read that, I have the moment before I begin. I'm like, if one kid goes home and tells their parents, like, I'm gonna get in trouble for this. I need to like maybe not do this. But then I always do it anyways because I did it when I was in 4th grade, and it like, I know it scared me, but it's just a story. I don't know.
Well, and it's from a children's book, so
I can always fall back on that. It would not help though, because if I was ever asked for the book, I like keep it in a bottom drawer so that the kids can't read it all the time. Because they're old books. So I bought them from eBay. I don't want them in my class library because they'll get destroyed. So I keep them in the bottom drawer. So if someone asks me, I'm like, all right, 1 second. I'm like reaching down to the bottom drawer to get this book and like, why are you hiding this book, Mr. Jackson?
My mom's school library is all mild books.
Mild books.
My like books that I had when I was
old books. Okay. Yeah.
Because they do get destroyed, and at least they're like already 20 years old.
Yeah.
Or 30 years old.
There's a couple that have my name that I wrote in them when I was a kid. And when the kids get those, they're like, oh, guys, I got Mr. Jackson's real book. It's got his name in there. Look at his signature.
Oh,
I think it's funny because when I was a kid, I went by Jake. And they're like, can we call you Jake? I was like, yeah, if you want attention. Jake. I hate that. I hate it. I don't know why I'm just so averse to it. It's just like as a kid, I was Jake. And then it was in my 20s, I made the conscious effort to tell everyone, like, all right, it's time to switch to Jacob. I'm growing up. I'm not a kid anymore. And so like my family still calls me Jake. And when I talk to them on the phone, and like my nieces, my baby nieces, they're gonna grow up calling me Uncle Jake. And I'm like, no. Please let them not call me Jake. But it's what everybody calls me. Wow. I think this is one of the ones with the bad animation. This looks weird.
Yeah.
Like, look at her. Like, for some reason, her animation is really wonky.
It gets worse than this though. So I think maybe they were heading that way.
Yeah. What season is this? This one's not even listed as like an episode. Oh, wait a minute. She puffed her asthma medicine and it just went next to her mouth. It didn't go in her mouth.
Maybe they just want to show like the clouds or something. I don't know.
But I'll tell you, I don't mean to be mean to any nerds out there because I'm a nerd myself. These two are made for each other. They were drawn to be together. I mean, they literally created these characters. They couldn't be more common, like more things in common.
Well, I guess that's true. I mean,
he looks like Rick Moranis from Ghostbusters.
He does.
Yeah. And she looks almost like the early Janine from the Ghostbusters, real Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Do you remember so this is one that I thought I fever dreamed. But I looked it up. It's real. There was an episode where Janine had a genie and she kept making wishes to make herself like more beautiful. And so at the beginning of the episode, she was like regular Janine, but that by the end, they like drew her kind of like hot. And I'm like, as a kid, I was like having some real like moral dilemma there. Like, wait a minute, I know this is a cartoon, but I think she's pretty.
No.
And I didn't know how to handle that. I don't know that I ever reconciled that either. I got some problems.
Hey, Andrea, we're so glad you could make it.
Welcome.
I'm here.
So we're watching Tales from the Crypt Keeper. I have the link in the group chat. You can click on that, and then if you need the timestamp, just let me know, and I'll give that to you.
And that we can see you in the chat too. Hey.
Hi, I don't know if you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, there we go. I survived. I'm still alive.
Yay!
You made it. And did you go with the full all-nighter?
No, I caved.
Oh.
Sometimes that's worse.
3 hours. Sorry, Jacob, what was that?
I said sometimes that's worse when you cave. If you only get like 2 or 3, I always hate getting 2 or 3. That's not enough. Like I'm either going to get 5 minimum or I'm just going to go no.
No, yeah, I'm that way, but actually for some bizarre reason, it did me the world of good, and I've been bouncing around all day. My eyes are burning holes in my head right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm having that issue right now too because I stayed up way too late editing. So yeah, it's no fun.
I wanted to stay up late, but I know thyself, and I knew I wasn't going to make it. I wanted to watch Ringu last night, but I did not. I played one mission of Monster Hunter before I was falling asleep with the controller in my hands.
Oh, man.
Sorry for the strong language. That's her house. It's actually a cool house. I would love to live there. I don't think I've seen. Is he wearing a pocket protector, or does he just have like pens in his pocket?
He just has pens in his pocket. I would assume there's a pocket protector, but we haven't seen it.
Remember, like, I think all of us are old enough that for some reason they picked pocket protectors to be a quote nerd thing. I'm like, no, it's a functional thing. Actually makes a lot of sense. Like, I don't know why that became a nerd thing, but I think really it was a Saved by the Bell thing that like ingrained itself so firmly in my head that it made me think it was a common thing.
Yeah.
Like, because I watched so much Saved by the Bell, I like that became my reality. I thought there were going to be nerds when I went to school. They were all going to hang out together. You know what I mean? Like, I thought the jocks were all going to be dumb. I watched way too much Saved by the Bell. And I was really young when that came out. Like, especially like Miss Bliss's class, I was like 2 or 3. That was really early on.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Those were never as good. I never enjoyed those as much.
That was when the show was more like a primetime show. It wasn't until they decided that they were going to make it about the kids that it became like a show that they would show on Saturday mornings.
It was a Saturday morning show. I remember going to like a grocery store. I don't remember which one. They had like the kid flyer. So it was like while the parents were shopping, the kids had something to do. Mm-hmm. And the back of it was like a caricature of Zach and AC Slater and Screech, like drawing as a cartoon, and you could color them. I remember thinking, like, who's clamoring for a Saved by the Bell coloring book? Oh, I guarantee there's one, though. I guarantee that. Just saying it out loud, I guarantee there's one now.
Well, there were like books that were supposed to be like biographies about the boys.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know, and that's what I'm saying.
My friend had those, and I was like, "Why do you have these?"
Are there shows like that today? Like, are kids really like? Is there a show like that?
Maybe Disney Channel shows or something. I don't know.
My students do not talk about Disney Channel shows. They skip childhood and go straight to the adult shows.
Wow. Okay.
No, we are firmly placed in the world of Cartoon Network, I think.
Oh, gotcha.
Those are what's on Cartoon Network now? Do you like the programming that's on there?
I actually enjoy it. I love like Adventures of Gumball, which he's obsessing over at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I don't mind him.
I loved Cartoon Network 3 or 4 years ago, like the Adventure Time regular show stuff. That was like, I hit that stuff real hard. I loved those shows. But like, I never got in on Steven Universe. I never got in on Adventures of Gumball. Like the newer stuff, I don't know. It's like, I feel like I missed out and now I like don't get it. And so everyone that loves these shows, I'm like, oh, I never watched them. I don't get it anymore. I'm too late. I'm late to the party. I'm sad.
I think I've definitely been conditioned, so.
Well, and part of it too for you is like he gets so much joy out of it that you get to experience that secondhand too, right? I mean,
yeah, and you know, there's always those kind of jokes that are fitted in there, obviously that are more for the grown-ups. So that I kind of appreciate those shows more.
Mm-hmm.
But he's actually new obsession. You'll appreciate this one, Jacob. Impractical Jokers.
Oh my God, it's over. They're showing it over there.
Oh yeah, it took forever to come over. He's dipped in and out of it for years, but now they've got the first season on Netflix.
Yeah.
So I think I've watched the entire season about 3-4 times now.
I'll tell you that is a show that people are either going to say, "Man, they are just messing with people; they're jerks," but then some people can get it. Like it's all in good fun. Like the point is to laugh about it. And so, like, if you really think about it, like some of it is really funny. And I swear I can't even think of Joe. There's an episode, I don't know it's in the first season, but they're like serving food as partners. And Joe is told, all right, Joe, you're falling backwards and you can't stop. And so he just goes, oh, like he's falling backwards, but he's just standing there. And Sal is his partner. And he's just looking at him. He's like, no one's even watching us. Why are you doing this? It's not even funny. And everyone is laughing so hard. And it's one of my favorite clips that they've ever shown. I love that segment.
Oh, it is such a funny show.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have something. I mean, a lot of the jokes will go over his head, like
Mhm.
the crude stuff, but
Sure.
he still finds it hysterical, like weak, crying, laughing.
Oh man, I laugh out loud more at that show than I've ever laughed at a show.
Yeah.
I also grew up on The Jackass, like The Jackass. That's how old I am. I say The Jackass. I grew up on Jackass. I was 17 when that show came out, and I hit that show so hard. I like became obsessed with all of their shows, like Wild Boys, Jackass, Viva La Bam. I was like the perfect age to watch all of those shows. So to me, walking around in public and pulling tricks on people is, that's been done a bunch, and I'm so used to it. And my thing is, they have earpieces in. I would see an earpiece in their ear, and I would know something is up immediately.
I know, like especially when they break, when they'd be given a line to say.
Yes, and they laugh in the middle of like a super serious conversation, and they can't even keep their face straight. But I'll admit, having your friends in your ear telling you jokes to say out loud would be so hard. That would be. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Heck no.
I'll admit, plants have never scared me, and even if I saw an Audrey 2, I would just stand like 10 feet away, and I'd be like, "All right, what's up, Audrey 2? Like, you can't get to me. I don't know what to tell you." What are some good plant movies? Has anybody seen any good ones? I know one. The Ruins is very good. I love that movie. The book is better in my opinion. Tab and I, we've talked about that. That's been that actually made it onto the schedule at one point, didn't it? The Ruins.
We put it on the list. We just haven't found anything to pair it with yet. So I thought maybe The Descent, but you were kind of.
Yeah, I don't know that those fit well. I didn't see Shrooms. We could do Shrooms. That shows up on Netflix. I've never seen it. Is it bad? Did you watch it?
I've never seen it, but I feel like it's bad.
I don't know. It's on Netflix. It's available. And we could spend most of our time talking about the book and the movie for Ruins.
Day of the Triffids.
That's true. Yeah.
What? Oh wait, I thought. Oh wait, I'm thinking of Star Trek. I thought the Triffids. Truffles. I'm thinking of the truffles. Are they called truffles?
Tribbles.
Okay. You tell I don't watch Star Trek. I'm sorry. I thought the Day of the Triffids was like a reference to that. What are Triffids? Are they little plants?
They're plants. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do that. Is that like an older movie?
Yes.
One of the classics. I'll do that. That sounds awesome.
Do you know there's a plant in the world, and I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but it only blooms every so many years. It's really quite massive, but when it opens, it emits the smell of rotted flesh.
Yeah, it's a corpse flower.
I've heard of this too. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one I couldn't remember it for the life of me then.
What a crazy idea that a flower like evokes the smell of dead flesh, like rotten flesh.
It's supposed to be really cool looking too. Like, I went to see it and it wasn't totally bloomed yet. Like it had just opened a little bit. And you definitely could smell it, but it wasn't as strong as it would be.
This episode has been running the whole time, but I have not been able to hear it. And the reading is just too fast. There's so much talking going on. I'm like, I get there's something going on here where she lives in this house and there's someone else in the house with her. Is that like her mom or her grandma or something?
Yeah, it's one of her relatives.
And she has an old lady's voice, but she doesn't look like an old lady. Is that the Twin Towers?
I think so, yeah.
You know what I did watch for about a half an hour before I totally tanked out and fell asleep was Ninja Turtles, Brandon, because Mondo brought it up. I was
nice.
Like, man, I have to watch it. So when I finish it, I'm going to re-listen to that episode.
That's a fun one.
It's so good. Like, yeah, it's shockingly good. Like, it's filmed well for a Ninja Turtles movie. Because I think everyone remembers part 2, which was like a giant cartoon on film.
Right.
But this first one is dark and gritty, and there's like actual camera angles, and there's the scene where Raphael like shouts and the cameraman runs around him, filming him like in a circle. And it's not on a steady cam. He is just running around him, filming it. It's so raw and gritty, and it's just cool. And so the first word uttered by a turtle is damn, like 4 times in a row.
Right. I remember thinking that was so scandalous when I was a kid.
Has Hayden seen the original, like the live action Ninja Turtles yet? Does he have any interest in Ninja Turtles?
Oh,
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, does Hayden, has he
Oh,
seen
sorry.
any of the Ninja Turtle stuff? Like, does he like the Ninja Turtles?
He's not quite. I mean, everything's Transformers at the minute.
Mhm.
We've tried to get him into Turtles in the past. I mean, he's seen the newer ones and he didn't mind them, but I want him to get into the original. I love
Yeah.
that movie.
It's so good. It's really good.
It blew my socks off seeing it at the cinema back then.
I did not get to see it in theaters. I saw it when it came out on VHS with that amazing baseball game commercial at the front. Does anyone remember that? Where the kid like catches the ball and then they go to
The
Pizza
Pizza
Hut.
Hut commercial.
Yeah.
Remember
Like that commercial is on YouTube. Oh my gosh. That shot right there of her, that's really cool. She's a really cool plant monster. I like that design. It's almost like an octopus. It totally distracted me from the baseball commercial. But that commercial, I don't know how it like showed up on YouTube as on my feed or something once, and I watched it. I was like teleported back to being like 10 years old again. It was crazy.
I'm surprised we actually even got it all over here. I mean, there was such a fuss even about the title of the cartoon series. I don't know if you guys are aware of it.
No,
Oh yeah,
no, what's going on? I did not hear about this.
Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
Yeah, they
What is Ninja a thing?
yeah, because if they thought it would encourage children to, buy what's the one with the 2 bars and the
nunchucks.
Oh, the nunchucks.
Yeah. It was like kids they'll want nunchucks in school and it's the end of the world. I know, like we couldn't handle the word ninja.
That's odd.
I know.
It's interesting. The things that I mean, there's very few things that I know of that are like censored specifically in the UK. And so like the ones that I always think of are like Bruce Campbell talks about how in Evil Dead 2, when he's laying down on the ground after getting like beat up by Jake kicks him in the face. And like that shot always gets cut in like European versions because it's not like allowed to show a guy down on the ground getting kicked or something like that. But they always talked about how that shot got cut. And Sam Raimi said the same thing. Like that shot gets cut from European versions.
I'll have to have a look at mine now, actually. I never even thought about that. Wow.
Yeah, and as like you may have never even seen that shot. It's literally a 3-second shot of Jake kicking Bruce Campbell in the face. But that's what they said, that shot gets cut in European versions.
Oh, it's nuts. I mean, it's the fact that you guys used to have The Exorcist on TV and we couldn't even have it in the cinema.
Right.
Oh, Andrea's got some really cool like censorship. What like there's things that are just being like what isn't it Evil Dead 2, Andrea? That just did she leave? Oh yeah. She like something just became available for her to watch for the first time ever. It's something that like that blew my mind that was just allowed. It was something that we've watched recently, Tim.
I believe it was Evil Dead that she's mentioned a couple of things that have more recently become available, but I think Evil Dead was something that was fairly recent. James is in the YouTube chat and he says, have we seen the lineup for Flashback Weekend this year in Chicago? So Bruce Campbell must be there.
Oh, I have to take a look.
I didn't even know Flashback Weekend was a thing. So no.
I live right outside Chicago. All right, Flashback Weekend, Chicago Horror Convention. Like it is a horror convention, August 2nd to 4th. Tab, that's good for me because that's during summer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that.
Sam Raimi himself is there.
Okay.
And then Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund's going to be there. Bruce Campbell's going to be there. But those are the only 3 they have listed. So those might be the only 3 big names. Let's see here. Guests. Sam Raimi. Oh, yeah, we got a bunch. Oh, Virginia Madsen's going to be there.
Oh,
Tony Todd is going to be there. And no kidding, Melinda Clark is going to be there. We just talked about her last night. That's crazy. Alicia Witt from Urban Legend is going to be there too. I can ask her if she's heard my coverage of that.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. So we're doing Brothers Gruff.
I have that one pulled up. Brothers Gruff is the next one. You want me to
I'm going to post that in the chat too.
Okay. I actually remember the joke that I said that was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. It was about Tara Reid. Like I talked about how bad she was in that movie.
I think I cut some of that out because you had asked me to.
I was like, I don't want to be negative here. All right, a boy named Eddie. This is the synopsis for this one. A boy named Eddie is followed home by a troll after crossing a bridge. Now it's up to him and his friend Sheldon, who knows almost everything about monsters, to defeat the troll when it kidnaps Eddie's older brother. This could be horrible for the record. I did not pre-watch this or anything. I have no idea. I don't know what season it's from either.
Yeah.
It's a lot of episodes, though.
All right. So you guys ready? We're gonna
Ready.
count it down. 3, 2, 1, play.
Oh, there's no closed captions on this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I tried. I don't think so, anyways, unless I'm not hitting the right button, but I don't see them. I love the idea of pliers that are so big that they like cannot fit in your pocket. And like, why do you need pliers that big? Are pliers the kind of thing where the size of the pliers determines the amount of strength that they use, like the torque or something? Because I know, like with a wrench, a really long wrench makes it easy to turn. But like, do giant pliers, does that matter?
I don't know. I have no idea.
It was a shot. I think it was the Vault Keeper was using giant pliers to open the door, and I remember thinking, like, what are you doing? I always say I want to do Tales from the Crypt when I see this intro. That's the slime Tales from the Crypt Keeper. That's what makes me want to watch Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think the time has come, Tab. I think we're gonna have to watch some Tales from the Crypt.
Okay.
There are some very, very good episodes that I remember very fondly, actually freaking me out a lot too. The one with, oh man, what's the guy's name from he played the doctor in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. You know what I'm talking
David
about?
Warner.
David Warner, thank you.
Yeah.
That one where there was like the girl in the attic that was all like deformed and stuff. And he was a psychologist hired by her mom to go up there and like talk to her. It was scary as hell. I saw, and the mom was someone too.
Don't remember that one.
Yeah,
It was all filmed. It was at an old house, so everything was all yellowed. And like, there was a girl in the attic who was wearing a dress, but her head was like a monster's head, and she was locked up in the attic by her mom. And her mom hired David Warner as a psychologist to go up there and talk to the girl. And when he found out she was a monster, he was like freaked out. And the whole episode just took place in that house. The episode's called The New Arrival, and it is from 1992. And oh, it's Zelda Rubinstein's in that one too. And Twiggy is in that one.
Weird.
Yeah. I knew it was someone famous, the girl that was up there. Like, I want to find a picture of the girl. Because I maybe she's not as creepy as I remember, but
There's this one that I remember starring Tim Curry. It was called Death of Some Salesman. Did you
Oh,
ever see
stop
this
it. I
one?
was literally just thinking about that one, Brandon.
Really?
I've heard of that one. I don't know that I've ever seen that one.
Terrifying because he's dressed up like an old woman. And
Oh, he looks so weird in it.
I know.
Oh man, yeah, I forgot that this girl wears a creepy mask at first. Like, oh yeah, oh boy. All right, and there's her face. Yeah, that's terrifying. Holy smokes. Horace. Oh man, yeah, this is a bad animation one, isn't it?
Oof.
It gets worse though. Like this is
Really? You keep saying like how much? What? How so? Just like low budget, like reused animation stuff?
no, just like really sloppy looking animation. Like it like I could show you a still from it.
So I only picked this one because the Billy Goat's Gruff is literally my favorite fairy tale, and I tell it to my class every year. Because my fifth grade in my district, we write twisted fairy tales. It's one of our writing assignments for the district, like the mandated ones that I have to do. And I love the idea of taking a fairy tale and like twisting it around. So I always tell like the three Billy Goats Gruff from the troll's perspective, and I make it like really like the troll is actually very sad. He tries to communicate with them and they ignore him because he doesn't know how to talk words. He just growls at them, and the kids are always like, "Oh, the troll's not so bad at all." I'm like, that's right. Sympathize for those monsters.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And they usually end up writing. I mean, they'll go with the more stereotypical stuff. Like they'll go Cinderella route. They'll tell it from like the stepmother's point of view. I did have one tell the Little Mermaid from a human's point of view, like what it would be like for a girl to like come out of the ocean and like start walking, like it was formerly a fish, like a mermaid, and how she like became an internet celebrity and stuff. It's really interesting. And that is not the kind of bridge that I think a troll would live under, to be perfectly honest. Whoa. I did not see Sheldon before. Sheldon is super stylized. Look at that, dude. Those glasses. This reminds me of something like from 3D animation now, like where people are super stylized in those. Like when we watched Paranorman, the first time I had tried to watch it, and when it first came out, Tab, I don't know if I talked about this on the episode. I couldn't do it because it was so stylized. Like the characters just looked demented to me, and I was like, I can't do this. It's too weird. But that second time through, I was like, wow, it's so much better than I was ever expecting.
Yeah. No, yeah, you did talk about that on the episode for sure. I fell in love with it when I saw the trailer where they played Season of the Witch. I was like, I have to see that. I went to see it.
Oh, the trailer had Season of the Witch as the like a song.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. And then Little Ghost at the end of that movie.
Oh my gosh.
So well played. I know. I still listen to that song. I like the White Stripes. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. So I put a link in the chat, and this is a still. I don't know why it's on a like a stock photo website, but it's a still from the 1990.
No. Yeah. Okay. I see why.
Do you see what I'm saying now?
Yeah. Well, okay. So that starts the trend. Did they ever pull the trigger on that real, or like the reboot of Thundercats, where they were drawn like this, like weird stylized cartoons? Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
I don't think that ever did come out. I think they talked about it, and then when the backlash was so bad, they didn't end up doing it.
No, it says 2019. It's still being made.
Oh, crazy! All right.
What a bad idea that is. I mean, but it's drawn like something like Bubblegum or Bubblegum. What is that called? The show, the one that Hayden watches. I can't. The kids talk about it at school all the time. Is it Bubblegum? Gumball. Yeah, that one. Yeah. It's drawn like that, and it's also drawn like Steven Universe, where they're just kind of weird, squat characters. But I like that is not an animation style that I think Thundercats should go. They need to go like realistic. But then they did that too in like the 2000s. They did that, and it didn't do well either.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the original. There's like nothing wrong with it. That's a great show.
I don't know if I've had this conversation here. I know I've had it before, but what are you guys' thoughts on that new She-Ra?
I haven't watched it yet. I know that it's getting a
watch on Netflix.
I'm not sure. I don't know if it's been released yet, but I know the image because it's just so different, obviously, from the one we grew up with.
Yeah, I think
it's done in that style too. I think it's done in that more like almost like a bubble style where the characters are.
I would almost say, Tab, it's a fusion of that style and a little bit of anime in there, like a little bit of Japanese influence. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at it's kind of like I would call it a poster for She-Ra, where she's in the middle holding up the sword, and on the left side are the bad guys, and the right side is the good guys, and all the characters are very they're very modern anime. That's what I look at. That's what I see when I look at it.
Yeah.
It looks cool though. I mean, have you watched it? Did you like it?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if it's actually on any of ours yet. I'll have to have a look.
Yeah.
There's one show on Netflix that I really want to watch that is animated, but I can't remember the name of it. It's like a little girl moves to a different city or maybe even a different country, and she sees imaginary friends. Does that sound familiar?
On Netflix?
Yeah.
The only one that I know of, and it's not on Netflix, like the new big cartoon, is the one that Matt Groening did, the fantasy one.
This one is actually for little. It's called Hilda.
Hilda? On Netflix?
Yeah, it says it's British Canadian.
All right.
And it's based on a graphic novel.
British Canadian. I didn't even know that there was a British Canadian.
I gotta see it there. Oh, I'm gonna have to give that a go.
Yeah, it looks cool. I mean, I'm looking at 3 images of it, but it's got a neat style to it.
Yeah, and it's like basically about 3 little girls that hang out together and support each other. And then Hilda has this imaginary world, kind of like Adventure Time almost, but not as surrealistic.
This reminds me of something that Tab I had mentioned to you that we wanted to watch, or that I wanted to watch with you. Was it was over the hedge, or not over the hedge, the animated movie, but there's a show over the garden wall.
Yeah, over the garden wall. Yeah, Ed sent me the movie, and I think and Andrea got me the book for Christmas.
So this Hilda evokes that.
Yeah,
it's got that same like almost like sepia tone feel to it.
Have you seen that, or is it just something you've wanted?
I saved it. I wanted to watch it with you, and then we just never got around to it.
Mm.
And I haven't. There's like 2 seasons of Adventure Time that came out that I never watched. Like the final season. I think it would make me sad.
Yeah.
Okay, so my sync is off, I think, on the episode.
I think the audio sync is just off on the episode.
I'm like, this is not.
They just noticed that, yeah.
It's not off by a lot, but it's off by enough that it's giving me a weird feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, he is upset.
Yeah.
Genuinely upset.
What's weird is like those 2 characters are drawn in such completely different styles.
Yeah,
it's hard to accept that they live in the same universe.
Exactly. Like that, the blonde one is regular Tales from the Crypt, but this other one looks like he should be in a different show.
Yeah, absolutely.
He almost looks like where the Cenobite Butterball turned into the Cenobite Butterball.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Like he's the one that he got this troll. This is the Cenobite Butterball origin story.
Annette, did you ever watch Pepper Ann? That was a show here. It was an animated show.
Yes, I remember Pepper Ann.
I loved Pepper Ann.
That was so good.
If you remember the name. Okay, yeah. I never watched this, but I remember it. It was like the girls' version of Doug. I
kind of, yeah. It was better though. It had so many cool references, like tons of horror movie references.
Oh, really?
Oh, way better.
Way better than Doug. Every time people talk about Doug, I'm like, Pepper Ann is so much better. Like Doug got like the hype because it was on Nickelodeon. That's what everybody was watching. But yeah. I loved Pepper Ann.
Well, then they put Doug on CBS or something. He transitioned over to like
I think Disney bought it.
And then like I remember they changed his outfit. Like he had a vest all the time, and I think they either gave him long sleeves or took away his long sleeves. I don't know. We're digging real far back into my childhood for that one.
Yeah, it wasn't as good.
Oh wow! Look at this kid's room.
Yeah, it was on that one Saturday morning thing.
I love that room, by the way. Yeah. It became a Saturday morning thing, and it wasn't nearly as good. But I don't think Doug was really great to begin with. I think it was just that I watched because it was on TV.
Yeah. I was never a fan of Doug, but I loved Pepper Ann. I think I probably identified pretty hard with Pepper Ann. But even the show was like, I felt like it was funnier and it had a lot of pop culture references in it.
Dude, yeah, it's everywhere. I forgot about this show. Pepper Ann.
There's another one here on Netflix. I don't know if anyone's seen it. The Hollow.
Oh, The Hollow. Like that sounds familiar. I know that
ALLOW or HOLLOW.
HOLLOW. It's last year it came out, animated series. It looks pretty good actually. It's like about these 3 kids who
is it
wake up in a room with no windows or doors, and they can't figure out how they got there or why.
Oh wow! Okay.
And it seems to lead on to these like multiple adventures. Like look really, really interesting.
The animation, is it an animated show?
Yeah.
It looks really interesting. Is it CGI or is that
I'm not sure.
Cartoon? It's got a real weird look to it.
I think that's another one for the list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going to get so many weird suggestions now. Serial killers and cartoons.
Yeah. Welcome.
That's awesome, actually. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I'm going to be watching Ted Bundy, that new series on Netflix, and then I'll watch a cartoon. That sounds amazing. Cartoons and serial killers.
Yeah.
We watch everything on my Netflix profile. So our Netflix profile is like totally skewed, and Chris finally said like you have to make something separate to watch horror movies stuff. I don't want to see this, so we had to restructure our whole Netflix so that I'm not like horror stuff isn't popping up on there.
Yeah, we have 4 different ones. We've all got one each, and then we've got a family one.
Nice.
See, that's what we should do. We should create a family one, and then we can each have our separate ones. But the problem is, Chris would just watch whatever he wanted on whatever was up. So
yeah.
Is this troll gonna eat that kid that's all tied up?
I think that's the plan.
Holy cow. That troll sitting the way he was sitting, like with you could see his back first, it made me think of that Are You Afraid of the Dark episode with the leprechaun, like Jake and the leprechaun.
Okay, I remember that one.
It was that big I think it was I don't know what the monster itself was, but he had like the hairy back. That is the episode that scares my class the most, because it's like that effect when that happens, when the kid goes down in the basement and sees that guy sitting like by the fire with his back all hairy and stuff. They just go silent. They're just like, oh God, what is going on here? Some of them some of the episodes really freak the kids out. Like the lonely ghost, the girl that was like, help me backwards. Like that, that scared the bejesus out of them. But it makes me think, like, I know it scared me when I was a kid because I remember being afraid. Like I remember actually like being afraid to go to the bed after watching some of those episodes. But like today, they don't look scary at all. Is that just like me, like growing up?
I would assume so. Yeah.
It is still scary to them because they have the ability to like imagine things.
Well, I remember watching, because I was watching Are You Afraid of the Dark just for fun, and I had the Ghastly Grinner episode on, and my friend brought her little boy over, and he was terrified.
Ghastly Grinner is weird. Like that's just a crazy. It's when they start puking blue or like dribbling out of their face. That I showed that one in my class too, and they were like, "Whoa, that's intense." When he showed up too, it freaked him out. Yeah. And then the Crimson Ghost or the Crimson Clown, that one. Oh, yeah. when the full size clown is walking towards him and he's all mean, they all freak out at that one. I had a kid last year that was actually afraid of clowns, and she would not have it. She like ran to the back of the room. She's like, I mean, it's fun, scared, not like she's crying in the back of the room by herself, catatonic with fear or anything. But she had they have a lot of fun, and that's the thing is like, I want them to associate being scared with fun, so that maybe they grow up and watch scary movies.
Yeah.
I think the people that don't see the merit in scary movies either never made that connection that like it's fun to be scared, or they're just like grossed out by those things. Yeah. Like grossed out by blood, and like they have a physical response to blood and violence.
Yeah, I think like for my dad is not a horror movie fan at all, and he still doesn't understand why I watch horror movies. But for him, it's like it feels so negative that he doesn't want to deal with it. And I'm like, all right. I made both him and Chris go see Zodiac after I saw it the first time, and I was really excited. I was like, this is an awesome movie. And by the end of it, they were just like, why did you bring us to this?
God, Zodiac is such a good movie, though.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'm still listening to that series on iTunes, the podcast. It's not great, but I am still learning. Like, there's interesting things in there. There's some really cool interviews. I would totally check that out, Tab.
Yeah, I definitely will. The 2 books that Robert Graysmith wrote are very, very interesting as well. So we could totally get that on Audible if that's something you're interested in.
This like rekindled my interest in the Zodiac case. And then I think back, I'm like, I know we did the Jeffrey Dahmer episode justice. Did we do Zodiac justice? I know we loved the movie. We did. I hope we did, because I like that might be one of the most interesting cases I've ever heard. Like, there's just so much to unpack in that case.
We got a lot of great feedback on that one. So the one I worry about is H.H. Holmes, but
I know it was hard because everything we read just disproved everything about H.H. Holmes.
Yeah.
Oh no, I love that episode. I mean, I'm fascinated by, that whole story. I mean, find it intriguing. I don't go that deep into it, and I do have the books, but I never got around to reading. So it was great to hear your perspective on them.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. And I know like Mia said that she really appreciated that like we told the true story.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So. He was a con man, and he had some ends. This is insane. I think kids would be freaking out right now.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like that kid's being eaten by a giant troll. I mean, I know what's going to happen, but literally that kid just got thrashed around like Quint in the end of Jaws style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James says, Jacob, never doubt yourself, bro. All of your episodes are fantastic.
All right.
There you go.
I'm glad to hear that. I worry so much that some, like, our tone, that is the only thing that I really think about, is that, like, most podcasts have the same tone throughout, like, always the same. Either they're going to rip movies, they're going to look at themes, like, they're consistent. I feel like I am wildly inconsistent in the tone of each episode. Like, if you listen to the Jeffrey Dahmer episode, and then you listen to Hell Comes to Frogtown, and then you listen to the episode with Casey, the 90s horror, like, it's just, that's three wildly different reactions to these movies. But I guess that's what it is. It's my reactions, and I guess I'm consistent in that I'm giving my reactions mostly.
Well, I think that also comes from picking a very wide range of movies.
Yeah.
So,
and we're our own worst critics. So
yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I only edit like 2 or 3 episodes a year. I can't imagine what it's like, Tab, to just listen to yourself all day and just like, it's the worst. But it's fun. I love editing, actually. As much as I dislike hearing my own voice, I love editing and putting little clips in and stuff. It's just the funnest thing ever. I mean, almost everyone in here now has dabbled in editing, right? Like, so you guys get it. I hope you get it anyways. I hope you enjoy it. Brandon, do you do your editing?
I do, yeah. It's how do I put it? It's frustrating because there's some times where, like, oh, that part worked out pretty well, but then there's this one thing that just didn't land right, or it was inaccurate, or, and I'm like, oh, I wish I would have said this instead, and so I'm like, well, it's got to go, and so we record usually about 2 hours, and about 30 minutes of it has to go. So
yeah, when I edit, that's about par. Like, I'll edit down a good half hour out of a 2-hour recording. I think our end of the year, the 2019 State of the Podcast, or 2018, I guess, the recording itself was like 2 hours and 20 minutes. And I think I got that down to like an hour and a half, somewhere in that range. Like, I cut out about an hour out of that. But I mean, there was some technical problems we had to cut out. There was a good chunk where like audio was just silent because I think I had to go do something. I don't know. I can't remember. But Tab, what about you? Like, when you edit, because I'll admit, once I send you the file, I really don't I don't listen to the show because I can't. It's so hard for me. How like, if an episode, like, so like with Jordan, that episode actually became longer than what was the recording.
I mean, I put in a bunch of.
Is that the first time that happened?
Yes.
Okay.
That was because I put in a bunch of clips.
Oh, I think I love it though. The clips are my favorite part, and adding clips and sound effects. And I love underlaying sound effects. I love doing little subtle things that people might miss, but if they hear it, it's like so rewarding that they get to hear that.
Yeah. There was just so much to like that we could pull from that. Like, there were a lot of great interviews and you know, a lot of the things that we talk about, especially with Silence of the Lambs, are visual. We talk a lot about the visual stuff, and both those movies, I think, you know, you are better served by hearing what is actually said, rather than us trying to lamely describe it. So the dialogue is so good, and their performances are so good. So that's how I always feel.
I feel that way so many times when we're talking about specific scenes. I'm like, you could probably just watch it and get a much better reaction than hearing us talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that is set up so that we can actually talk about what we liked. So I feel like we try to minimize the description of what's going on in the scene.
Yeah. Tab, I think we need to consider Flashback Weekend.
Okay.
It's in August.
All right. We can definitely do that.
Okay. I'm just looking at it right now because I just closed out the window and saw like it's here. Tickets. I don't know. It doesn't say. Of course not.
We'll get it figured out later.
Yeah, I guess you guys want to listen to us shop online for tickets. Thanks for hanging out with us again.
Yes, thank you.
Everyone that was here last night hanging out with us again.
Yeah, and if you're interested, look at Flashback Weekend. Like, I know everybody wouldn't necessarily be able to go, but for some reason you can make it to Chicago for that weekend. We would love to hang out with everybody.
Brandon, I just saw that you had posted a picture of Tim Curry from Death of Some Salesman, and it instantly brought back the fear of that episode. Like, I had forgotten. So like when I saw that shot, Now I remember
Oh
that
my
episode
gosh.
because it was demented. I remember it now.
Gruesome.
You brought me back, man. You did it.
You're
Good
welcome.
job. Thank you. All right, folks. You guys have an awesome weekend. Stay warm if you're in a place that's cold. I'm at -1 right now. Feels like -20, but luckily I don't have much to do today. So,
You guys take care. We'll see you later.
Yeah. Thanks,
take it
guys.
easy, folks.
Thanks for hanging
Bye.
out.
Speak to you soon.
Bye.